the sun steps down and escapes the day, we'll calmly walk away from the fray. When structure falls and all else fails, we will build it once again. Turns to grey, we'll calmly walk away from the fray. When structure falls and all else fails, we will build it once again. We can climb high, higher than before, or we could stand by while it burns to the floor, though we cannot fly. We will build and the wounds will mend as we build it once again. is not enough. We could burn like a flame through the atmosphere. Yeah. Starlight, it's calling us. Leave the ghosts of our past in the stratosphere. Oh yeah, yeah, it's calling us. It's calling us. It's calling us. It's calling us. Life is not enough. We could burn like a flame through the atmosphere.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be our second semifinal for Due Process League. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Oh, I'm already messing up. It's early in the morning, but boy, do we have an exciting match to get into. So today in the second semifinal, we are going to have StatusQuo versus Fluff. Two teams that have seemed very good recently. StatusQuo picking up the pace with how they've been playing, and Fluff, an unstoppable force already. We'll see what they can do. I'm here with Byakko. Byakko, you have any pre-game notes you want to get into?
Well, just the fact that right now Fluff is completely undefeated. In fact, I don't think they've dropped a single set the entire season and playoffs so far. So Status Quo is going to have their work cut out for them trying to challenge, that kind of ability and prowess that they're bringing to the game. But I think they've got it in them to make a show of this and hopefully, make this thing interesting because as it's been so far, Fluff have just been, extremely dominant and we haven't seen them, push to their limit yet.
That makes sense because Fluff just their teamwork together is kind of unmatched right now. Just they work really well together, even though there are teams that have more like game time than yeah, than them. They're just extremely experienced for what they have so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. But on terms of status quo, they've done some pretty amazing stuff. They've upset Red Team in the quarterfinals, and they made it to the semis, meaning they definitely have something in them that makes them want to get to the finals. But we'll see what type of fight they can put up against Fluff. But on the side of Fluff, we've got Billboard, Frosty, Marbles, Socks, and Vane. And on the side of Status Quo, we have Investigator, Jake, Uga, Fishy Fanny, and Swass. So we'll see what these teams do, as I know Status Quo has been specifically training for this match, and Fluff has definitely shown just a slight bit of concern about this match, even though they have been, like you said, undefeated so far. We'll see how they do, though, as it is a semifinal. Anything could happen here, as these teams both want to go to the finals to fight Flatline.
And it's an early morning matchup, so who knows what could happen here? Because I know both of us are a little bit tired coming in here,
Yeah.
as we've heard. You know, the coffee's just now flowing for me, but you know, things can happen when the schedule is a little bit unusual for people, and I've seen that before. In any game, for that matter, you'll see. You know, this isn't a case of jet lag, but a team just playing differently just because of time scheduling stuff. So who knows? That could be the oddball X factor that we have going on here.
Yeah, we'll see, because Fluff, I haven't really been seeing them play in the mornings. They usually stick to their normal scrim times, like most teams, late in the afternoon. Nobody's really online in the mornings, so we don't see that many matches being played in the mornings between these teams. But you never know. They might be training in secret. Who knows?
It could be the unusual power play. Maybe they are morning gamers, and we just don't know it.
Yeah.
See them not lose a single life the entire setup. I don't think that'll be the case though. Status Quo is definitely bringing their A game today, and we'll see what Fluff can do about it.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Fluff can do about it, because status quo, like I've said, they've been training for this moment, and I want to see what they can bring to the table. A lot of these new maps are attacker sided, so hopefully a lot more rounds will be a bit more balanced depending on the side, or not depending on the side, but depending on the team play instead of the side. Um, Hopefully we see that with the new maps, but so far we've seen very attacker sided maps. We'll see though, as status quo is actually going to be starting on the attack, and we'll get straight into this one. Do you have any predictions for this first match, Byakko?
I mean, I have to go with the obvious prediction and figure on Fluff taking the win. But I would like to see like 3, even 4 rounds out
Mhm.
of status quo. And I think if they can make a challenge early on, they can build some self confidence and you know, definitely make a game out of it. We haven't seen Fluff get rattled yet by anyone by any means, but you know that could be a thing if all of a sudden status quo goes up like 2 or 3 to none. You could start maybe seeing the cracks start to appear, and you know that could be a thing that comes out today. We'll have to see.
And if status quo, if these maps are as attacker sided as they've been seeming, then status quo is starting on attack. That's going to give them the advantage here, and definitely they could stack 2 3 rounds up here right off the start, and then from there just clean it up on either defense or wait till the second side swap where they're going to be on attack again. We'll see though.
Yeah, so we are going into Secure Fang. It is a factory map. Pretty standard, usual layout. The top side office is always going to be, you know, a little bit of an interesting area in most of these maps. However, this one does not have any windows peeking out of that area, so probably not as useful as you would hope. And we're seeing some of the marks for barbed wire coming out. These teams have played pretty unique first rounds. A lot of teams always have opted for almost an eco first round, very little utility, not bringing out, you know, the fancy, you know, power weapons and all that. But I gotta say, Fluff, they've thrown some surprises, especially on first round factories. We might see the mob come out early on the defensive side. We might even see the saber coming out for status quo here. But so far, it looks like the worry is going to be for Docs, and they're just going to completely ignore Office and Toxic, is what Fluff is marking out. Just give that whole half of the map up. There's nothing useful in that area. Funnel them into those choke points up at top and bottom. And that's definitely a good call to make there, because if you're focused into one area of the map where you have to go, it's, just funnel all the firepower you can in there, throw utility, slow people down, work out the timer, and that should be the round for them if they play it to the letter.
And Marbles has decided to change the barbed wire's location. Instead of opting for that towards the double door storage, he's put it up towards office, which actually might be perfect here, as the Hentai Investigator is going to be the first one out of the truck for the attacking side of Status Quo. We'll see them go for a pretty seemingly standard office play. The barbed wire could be a disadvantage to them here. And no nades on the side of Status Quo. That's going to be rough to get through it, especially with two players there. They've got Allegros as well as KR there. So we'll see what they can do. He's going to prep the flash, waiting for the door kick to come out. It seems Vayne is aware of this. He hears noise, and he's just going to stick to it with Marbles. Marbles is a bit more focused on Docs, it seems, but he's ready for a turnaround, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Marbles turns around, ready for a 2v1. Jake's going to blow it up, and first shots are coming out from Vayne, but nothing's going to connect. A Molotov is going to be there to stall Status Quo, and they're going to decide, hey, let's take toxic control for free, but that's not going to be a good situation for them, especially with Sox and Billboard there. If they can use these wallbangs properly, it'll be perfect, but a smoke is actually going to come out to cover them. It's not going to be enough, though, to push through this barbed wire, so it seems they're just going to be waiting here. Hentai Investigator going to throw a deep smoke to try to stall it off. First fight coming into play now. It's going to be Hentai Investigator against Vayne, but Billboard's there to clean it up. That's the first pick given up in the series to Billboard. Damage is going to go off on the Swas through the wall from Billboard. Just damage being dished out for him, and it's going to be Fishy to accidentally kill Swas as he tries to get the counter wall bang on Billboard. Frustrating start for Status Quo as they're already in a 3v5, and it's going to be Sox to try to take a fight on Fishy. Fishy's got to go through the barbed wire as Frosty takes out Jake on the south side of the map. He's trying to take a fight, but Billboard's there to counter it, and it's just down to Uga. Uga trying to flash through storage. He's going to be alone here. Nobody can contest him, though. Marbles is going to peek out. He's got Frosty. Marbles going to wide peek now, and he's aware of where Monster is. Monster with the black tar. He's got to reload, but Marbles getting the kill in the end of the day. 4 players alive still for Fluff, and a round given up to them.
Perfectly called there by Fluff. I mean, you looked at the map and you realized half of the map wasn't going to gain, any useful point of defending it. So they just said, go to the choke areas, worry a bit about Doc. And I think, if you're on the attacking side, you maybe should have considered using that first round breach on the Doc, because there's just 2 choke points there, no angle to take them effectively, and it's just a hard push, on a map like that. If you're not getting your shots instantly coming around the corner, you're getting traded off in a moment anyways. And Fluff, they just knew what they had to do. It was just hold those corners, hold those angles, fire right into the, angles that they needed to, and just get all the damage out early on in the round. And there was nothing that Status Quo could do there. Just a hard defensive map. I mean,
yeah.
And I think we can see it happen in reverse later on when they switch.
Yeah, with Factory like that, first round, Factory is one of those more utility-heavy maps, and sometimes you just don't want to give it up. So that was up to chance there for Status Quo, and it seems Fluff just held their positions, and they were able to lock that down map relatively easily, since Status Quo didn't want to commit to using any major utility there. But that might be changed on Kill House.
Yeah, on to Kill House. Ghost Rush is the map. One we haven't really seen yet. This might actually be one of the newer ones, I believe. So, looking at a pretty quick entry route possible through lockers and office. This is going to be something that is being called out right now by Status Quo. They want to go in, hard and fast. If they do get in there, there's still numerous routes that can be taken through kitchen, hallway, and even from club to get back in there and fight off the bomb. At this point, I think, utility isn't going to be as big of a factor unless, a grenade is missed, blowing up some of the barbed wire and whatnot. Because we will see that barbed wire getting put up in lockers there. They're going to have to clear that before making any kind of entry attempt. There's also plans being drawn up for a possible B play coming in on the backside of the garage. We'll see how that works out for them. But overall, bottom side of the map, club, I don't think it's going to be seeing much gameplay, even though 2 members of the defense are gearing up down there. So, but they'll be definitely in a good flanking position once the action gets going here.
Yeah, Status Quo is aware that there is possibly going to be a barbed wire towards site. And honestly, this door charge, if placed properly and the barbed wire is in the perfect position for them, it's just going to get blown up by the door charge. But I'm not sure. Fluff has probably taken account of that. So we'll see, as they have brought a grenade and they are aware that barbed wire will need to be cleared out, which in the end will most likely help them. And it looks like they just want to beeline it straight for the site. Swas is already prepped. He's got the door charge in hand. It's placed. Investigator with the grenade ready to pull. Jake's blown up the wall on. Sock's actually getting taken out by Swas. Marbles has to rotate out, but Swas, he has two. He's got his whole team to back him up. Marbles and Sock's taken out in an odd position, and Billboard and Frosty have rotated up from the south side of club as Jake actually takes out Vayne on the side flank. It's a side quest for him as it's 2 players left for Fluff. They just got to clean it up. Fishy, he's trying to get some wallbangs in, and Billboard's going to be aware of it. Will he wallbang back? It looks like he should be mistaken for time. Going for it's, it's just going to be a switch between the 2 teams. Plus, is getting damage onto Billboard. He notices it. Billboard's on 1 HP. Barely alive. Frosty in the sight. Fishy's going to go in for the kill with Hentai Investigator. Billboard on 1 HP. He can't do anything. Now, Frosty's actually got Fishy and Investigator. But he accidentally takes out Billboard through the door. That 1 HP disadvantage is really bad for him. His monster goes in. Frosty's going to take him out, and it's just down to Swas. And Frosty on 1 HP. He's got the 4v1.
Oh my goodness.
Insane play from him. Granted, team kill onto Billboard, but what do you do when Billboard's a dead man walking? You've just got to spray and hope you hit the enemy and not your teammate. A sacrifice for a 4v1.
Early
Frosty
matchup
takes
today,
it.
but we know Frosty's awake right now. Oh my goodness. And he's got the hype factor going for Fluff right now. They are going to be energized after taking that. And needless to say, Status Quo, they gotta put it on the front foot now. After getting shut down like that on a round that they had, such a huge advantage on, and not being able to pull through, they need to, put that out of their minds instantly and move forward onto the 3rd map. So it's going to be C-Store.
They went 1 by 1 there into him, and that really messed them up.
Facing off 1v1 fights, when you don't have to, definitely not the way to go. Always, come in with a man advantage, because there's no way for a person to flip from one target to the next, get a reload in, all that kind of fun stuff. Just rush him down when it's that last man. Even if you have 1 HP, he's still going to fire half of his magazine trying to kill you. He's not going to be able to recognize that you have 1 health, running around that corner. He's going to think, oh, that guy's might be full health. I got to use every bullet on him. But that's in the past. We move on to C-Store. And we are on Sacred Python. Pretty standard layout here for any C-Store. Tellers is huge on this one with a freezer backside, so we can definitely see a push in there. Not sure if shutter control is going to be used here at all. Not really a super useful thing, but maybe. Arcade, you're going to probably expect to see somebody with the super shotty in there. And or auto shotty, I should be saying, or possibly in storage, waiting for that backward flank. But right now, Fluffa, they've got a lot of weapons that they've carried over from both rounds. They've got, some Black Tars, and I believe maybe some AP-25s that they might have saved. We'll see what they decide to go with here for close range combat. But plans.
The door charge available to Status Quo, so we'll see what they can make use of.
So their entry routes are definitely open to them.
What I'm focused on is, if Status Quo can use this wall charge properly, they'll push a player into either storage or into arcade, and using that, they should use that advantage, knowing where the opponents are, just to kind of snowball it from there. If you know where the opponents are, you can use wall bangs, you can use utility to just clear them out really easily. And like I said, if they hadn't taken those 1v1s, that last round would have been theirs. So we'll see. As slow walking on the north side of the map is Fishy. Vayne actually gonna take out Hentai Investigator. That's the Saber down, or excuse me, not the Saber down. That was a Black Tar. Saber is on Monster or Uga at the top side of the map. Rough start as Hentai's down now. Black Tar out of the equation. They're gonna go for a north side breach. Swas is already in, but he's alone. Marvel's taking him out with that neck, and she's gotta go in for a cleanup. But Billboard and Frosty are there to support. It's gonna be a bloodbath for Billboard. Jake is taken out, and it's going to be a wall charge finally going off for a monster. He's got the Saber. He does have socks now, but it's going to be everybody rushing his location just to clean up the last half. Billboard even risking kicking out the wall, and it's going to happen. an auto shot at long range to clean up the third round for Fluff. 3-0 so far.
Absolutely brutal there. Good play from Billboard with the auto shotgun, hitting all the shots. Vayne with that opening frag, though, from the mop. I mean, when you see that happening around, the opening mop shot coming out and putting you on the back foot right from the get-go, you could just see instantly, Status Quo looking just a little bit, worried in their action plan because, if you figure you're going to run into the first door with at least 5 guys and now all of a sudden it's a 4v5, definitely not the situation you want to be in. But we are switching around. We're going to see them take the defense on that very interesting factory map here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a completely different play coming out from Fluff. I bet you anything they'll breach those docks at the bottom side and make their way in through there because they know like how strong the defense they had was could be used against them. Go for a play that isn't that. Go for the docks, get your angles open and peek around and see what you can do and maybe even make a play for lights. We don't know. There's a possibility for smoke or two being blocked off of dock. Go in, get lights, throw on the NVGs, and then just start making your way around for frags. But it does look like they are considering office still. That green door, leads you into an area that you should feel pretty safe on. At this point, though, it's down to Status Quo to see what they want to do. Do they want to expect that dock push, or are they going to figure, oh yeah, they're just going to use that same strat we tried, but they're going to do it better. We just got to stop them. That's definitely a factor as well. Barbed wire going down on the door in toxic, slowing them down. I don't know. It's a rough call here. I would have bet anything that a dock push was going to be the key here, but going in with little utility and whatnot, maybe they're just hoping to win the aim battles over on the side of Fluff, which they're definitely capable of. We'll have to find out here in just a moment.
There is a potential wall charge that they've been pointing out on the highway there, we like to call it, for office to that north side of shelving. Interesting use of utility, but it doesn't seem like they're going to use it as it is first round, and they don't want to have to confine themselves to the green door on the second or third rounds, as then their Status Quo will be able to just funnel them in, and it'll be easy kills and rounds given up to them. We will see a Saber on the hands of Marbles, as well as a frag grenade on the hands of Sock, so they're prepared to clear out this barbed wire as they push in. Vayne is going to be the first up to that office door, and we'll see him with a flash and a smoke grenade, prepped, waiting for the breach. Sox is going to be there to open the door. Kick is there. Swiss is going to rotate off, actually. He's holding onto an angle, and he's going to fall off completely, waiting for Fishy to come rotate him up. Vayne is going to be the first to peek it. Fishy actually going to take some shots off at him, not connecting, though, as Swiss luckily gets away with nothing scraped off his health. Good for him, and now it's 5 players versus 5 players. They're both all in, but the wall charge has actually gone off, but it's in an interesting position. It's all the way in the corner, meaning that they can just funnel them in. A Molotov is actually going to split the team in half, but it doesn't really matter. Marbles has gotten a pick. Billboard Vayne also cleaning it up as Hentai Investigator gets the first trade. He's going to try to go in for a second on Frosty, but it's not going to be enough. Frosty's low, and it's just down to Booga. He's got the mop, but what does he do with it? He's got a pistol in hand, and he tries to take out Frosty, but it's not enough. Vayne taking him out. 4-0 match point for Fluff.
Well, there you have it. They needed a different strategy to pull off this map, and they found it. That wall breach up in the top side of shelving. Kind of a play that I don't think anybody expected on the side of Status Quo. They did have the Molly come out there, but we saw the two members run down there, and they were just instantly fragging out on people. Just overwhelming. Swiss and Fishy had nothing they could say about it other than the die, and we'll see that defuse come out here in just a second, but oof, Fluff, aggressive as you could ever be. And yeah, they've got both super weapons now that they need for the long range battles later on. We'll see. I don't know if that's going to come into play on either of the two maps that we have so far, if they even get that far.
Storefront, if we do get that far.
If we do get that far, yeah.
Killhouse is next, and there was only 1 or 2 sightlines from Club that they could necessarily use it in. But in the end of the day, that is a mop taken off the defender's hands. And now all they have is an auto shotty, which could be useful here on Killhouse.
We'll have to see how it goes. We saw the Killhouse play not go the way of Status Quo the previous time on attack. So right now, 4 match points, or I should say set points, looking forward to on the favoring side of Fluff here. They just have been dominant, and we saw another round where they had 4 members left alive at the end. So, whew. Status
Just
Quo
wanna
got to
see if
dig
they
deep.
can, I want to see if they can make use of this garage and hallway at all, because that is some very open space for the attackers, and the defenders will kind of just be confined if they decide to push it, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a possibility here that we could see some double pincer move from Garage, but I highly doubt it. They have their wall charges and door charges ready. We're seeing a mark going from the bottom side of Club to push up. Definitely a good call there because there's not a whole lot, of cover inside of Club that is supremely useful. I would say it's still useful, if you're expecting that Club rush, but it means putting yourself on the very bottom side of the map. And if you do that, a risk of a quick lockers push means that you're gonna have to run up there in an instant. I doubt we'll see too much of a spread on the defending side here. Status Quo, keep it tight and stick together, fight off those enemies as they come in one at a time. A lot of doorways on this map to make use of if you're the defending team. So definitely have to put that into consideration. But that also means that flashbangs are going to be supremely effective, and we know Fluff can use those to the best ability of anyone. I don't know. I will have to find out here, but I think this might end up being a 5-0. Just the aggression we've seen from Fluff and the ability to hit every shot that they need to. Um, within 2 minutes, we'll know.
Now, within 2 minutes, we'll see if this goes to another round or if it's going to be a Fluff 5-0 victory. We are going to see Marbles with a nade. First one into Garage. He is with Frosty, waiting for his teammate just a little bit. Club is going to be breached open, and Nuka is going to be aware of it, but all he has is a tub 12. The smoke is there. It's smoked out the middle of Club. That means the south side of Club is not available anymore. Monster's going to get breached into. And now it's Machine in bad position. He's rotated in, and Nuka's not there to help him anymore. Slush tries to get the flank, but Vayne has already shut down another on the side of the map. Jake does get the trade, though, as Kitchen Control is going to be giving up the marbles. He does still have a nade for this flank. Clean up that barbed wire as Socks, Frosty, and Billboard all pushing in. Frosty's going to breach it. It's going to be a three-way breach onto the site. Molotov going to come out from Hentai Investigator, and it's going to be the round cleaned up. 4 players still alive for Fluff 5-0 fashion. First set.
Again and again, it's just when it's a name battle. Fluff, they've just been so extremely dominant on that. They come in, they hit their headshots, do what they need to, especially on the attacking side where they have that little bit of health advantage. You're just not going to win 1v1 fights easily with them. Even the use of a utility has been little fun friendly frag there at the end by Marbles, but the utility can't even slow them down sometimes. They realize that if a Molotov goes out and they're already halfway into it, just push through. And we've seen them get frags, multiple frags even off of, a Molotov being tossed down and they just decide to ignore it. It's like, I don't care about your fire. I'm just going to come over there and, deal damage directly to your face.
But 5-0 for Fluff, good start for them, and now a lot of pressure is going to be on, uh, a lot of pressure is going to be on Status Quo though. So we'll see.
And again, we see the dominance here because this is a semifinal. These are, some of the top teams that we have in the league right now. They went 5-0 and they were winning those rounds with 3 or 4 people every time almost, save for the one that came down to a 1v1 duel. But even then, they had the health, they had a health disadvantage, I should say, early on. They were down by 3 members. It was a 5v2, and they came back and won that round. So, got to keep your wits about you when fighting Fluff. Just because you have the good start to a round does not by any means mean you can let your guard down and give them chances to come back, because they will.
Exactly. So we'll see though, as Fluff looking, like you said, very dominant in this first set. We'll see what they can do in the second, as Status Quo is gonna have to bring it back. So we'll see what happens on the second set right after this break. Everybody, don't go anywhere.
holding on forever, waiting for the rain to come. Who am I to just surrender? I'm not holding back for anyone. I've been holding on forever, waiting for the rain to come. Who am I to just surrender? I'm not holding back for anyone.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. We are going to be here today with the second set of the best of 3 semifinals for Status Quo versus Fluff. In the first set, we saw Fluff take it 5-0 from Status Quo, and that rhymed a little bit, actually. Fluff being very dominant, as we've seen so far, and I want to see what they're capable of. 2 5-0s to go to the finals, or will Status Quo use their coordination skills and take out Fluff finally, and we'll see one of the best teams knocked out. We'll find out here as Byakko. I'm assuming I already know your pregame predictions.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. And again, it's not to take anything away from Status Quo. If anything from that last match, when they had that 1v1 that it came down to, but they had the advantage before that and lost it, you could kind of get a sense that they felt maybe a little bit shattered at that. Hey, here's our chance to, get some punches in on Fluff. And to be shut down like that, yeah, I kind of would be a little bit tilted as well, I would say, like almost any player would. But that's behind them now. They have to, get around that. They have to square their heads up, get ready for this next set because it's do or die now for them.
Especially. I want to see if Status Quo can bring anything back in this chance. And we'll see if Fluff just decides to shut that down or if a glimmer of hope shines through. And we see Status Quo miraculously take it to a third map.
So loading in here, and
I should say.
We'll see what we've got in store for set number 2 of this wonderful semifinals. Remember, if Fluff win this, they go on to the grand finals. They're going to be able to face off against Flatline there, I believe. And see what.
Yeah, looks like Status Quo has subbed out 2 players for this. So we'll see what they can do with a changed lineup, and we'll see if their coordination is any better than last game. As it is going to be Jake, Kai, Fishy, Swas, and V. We'll figure it out, though, as Fluff has been very strong. They've been dominant, like you've said, and we'll see if they can shut down this roster as well.
So here we go on to Mountain Hour. We're going to be starting off with Factory yet again. Topside Toxic with power right there. Very easy power to grab. So I'm definitely going to expect that from Fluff. They love doing the power play. They love running in with NVGs. It's something that we've seen time and time again from them. So I think at this point, if you're Status Quo, you got to know, hey, we got to bring, all of our light utility, throw flares out when the time's needed. Because simply put, they're not going to be able to defend Toxic. They might be able to get a frag here or there. But here's the other thing. The defending line of sight that's best used for Toxic is going to be storage. There's a green door right there. So they can bust through that red door at the top, get all eyes looking up there. And if there's a mop sitting in storage, the moment he takes a shot, that door is getting kicked open and he's getting just absolutely blitzed by 1 or 2 members of the attacking side here from Fluff. So we'll see how they play this out. Office in a useful spot, but hard to get to unless you use that green door. So we're going to probably see some defending players over on that side, and definitely we are. 2 members over there, the rest kind of holding back. They have a little bit of worry about Fan, but I don't think that's going to be a concern at all late into the round. I don't think we're going to see any attacking players making a move for that. But we'll find out here.
Power play with how simple power is to obtain, and
Oh.
almost no players to contest it. It's going to be an easy power play and no flares on the defender. Actually, was that a?
That was a
that a
saber
wall?
shot. Vayne just ran up to the Fan, looked through it, and just shot Jake square in the face.
That was brutal. That's going to be 2 players already down. Vayne getting another. That's a one-shot headshot for him. He's got a third on Kai. What is going on? Vayne's popping off right now. Fishy alone now with the mop on the south side of the map, and it's going to be a knack on V to hold off on the north side. Rough round to start off this second set. And V's already taken out by Marbles. It's just down to Fishy with the mop. This is a replay of the first round. We saw 1 player left with the mop alive. It's going to be Frosty and Socks to push him. A 2v1, and Fishy's taken out. Only able to get 1. Vayne starting and basically finishing the round in 3 kills there, right off the beginning.
That was 3 shots and 3 headshots right off the bat there from him. If you're status quo and that happens to you, oh boy, that's not how you want to start off, this set. It's not how you want to start off the round even. But Vayne just, doing it all the work right there from the beginning for Fluff to get them set and ready to go here. They take this first map here cleanly. Only 1 member of them going down, and they're not gonna pick up any items of utility from this. So
no mop picked up. They've taken the risk, and they're thinking, hey, C-Store and Killhouse are going to be relatively small in close quarters, and if we didn't pick up the mop, oh well, at least they don't have it. So good calls from them. They opted to save their utility and save other things instead of going for the defender mop. So mop is completely out of play for the next 2 rounds, and we'll see what Status Quo can come up with for long range here as Killhouse comes up next.
This is why I really wish we had those first-person views, because that first kill, he just peeked through the corner of the Fan and was just like, "Oh, sup, dude," and just said goodbye. But on to Asgard Freedom here. We are on Killhouse.
This is actually something we saw yesterday. So
okay, yeah.
In Flatline versus DFC, Flatline opted for a checkpoint to the wall breach where you put that X on hallway, and because they beelined it straight for the site, DFC completely shut them down there. But in the end, Flatline revised their plan on checkpoint and decided to clean it up, and it was pretty easy. And it seems Fluff is aware of this. They've opted not to go for a wall charge, and Office is one of those lurker positions. We've always seen 1 or 2 players just roaming there, ready to fall back to site if they need support. And it looks like Fluff is aware of this. They're ignoring that portion of the map, and they might just want to go for a kitchen to site breach. But the issue with that, Club and Office. As I've said, Office does have those lurking positions, but Club has so many different angles. You see those couches on the south side. We saw Mackie hold that with a mop. We have this cover on stage, on the right side of stage, right next to where the wall breach usually is. But in Office, you have plenty of cubicles just to wait in with, say, an auto shoddy or even a knack, just to wait for them to push into kitchen, because there's so much cover in kitchen. Yes, it is more head glitches than actual cover, but I mean, it's still cover at the end of the day, and it lets you get closer to the opponent to kill them with those shorter range weapons that the defenders have. So we'll see, though, as 2 players actually going to be in kitchen for Status Quo. We'll see what they can pull off, and it looks like Jake has actually opted to rotate out of kitchen to place down a barbed wire. Roamers are in Office, though. Billboard is going to bait checkpoint as Vayne is the first in the region. Marbles is already in, and V's taken out. It's 3 players on him. Swass is in 1v4 right now, but actually Jake rotating it in. He gets Socks, but the trade is there from Frosty. Frosty's got a 2K in the round, and it's going to be Sluts just waiting behind in Office. And it's going to be 2 players on site for Status Quo. Marbles breaching into Office. It's going to make Sluts in action. He's going in for Frosty, but Frosty getting a 3rd round for him. Kai's getting into a fight, but Fishy's able to back him up onto Marbles. It's a 2v1 versus Kai because the trade is there from Billboard. Kai with the top 12 in the smoke. Frosty's going to get it, and that's going to be 2 rounds on the board. Not from Marbles. because of Frosty. Excuse me, 4 kills from him in that round.
A little bit of a door simulator map as Billboard. He was kicking down doors through the backside the entire way around. Fishy didn't really react to that, but didn't really matter in the end as he had already rotated out of that, top side of club stage area. But a little bit of damage done to Fluff this time. That got brought down to 2 members. They will save that Saber for the final map here if they decide to use it. But again, it's just been a hard time for StatusQuo to find their frags. It seems like, these doors get kicked open and instantly there's 5 members of Fluff just right on top of who's ever in there. They get 1 or 2 shots off and then go down. If they're not doing their damage, then that's, the end of it for them. They need to be able to get at least a little bit of a trade in before going down, but utility and flashbangs coming in so just negates that half the time. You get caught in a flashbang, there's nothing you're going to be able to do before you're dead. But
yeah, it's rough. It's rough stuff when you try to push in there and you're just completely overpowered. Even with a teammate, you're only able to pick up 1 kill, and it's really hard to deal with sometimes.
So here we go off onto Dusk Praetorian. C-Store map here. Storage with the light switch in the very top side. We could see that come into play, but so far from what we're going to see from, Fluff in recent rounds, they're probably just going to bully their way in. Looks like from office here. They might go for a play in freezer, because if you get into freezer, that opens up a lot of angles that you can shoot into storefront. There's just a few cheeky corners here and there, but even then, freezer negates some of those. Right by the bomb there by Arcade. For defense, StatusQuo, they got to come up with something nifty. We're going to see the auto shotty come out somewhere. If the auto shotty doesn't open up with 2 frags, or at least 2 frags worth of damage, I should say. If you don't get off 300 damage with the auto shotty, I'm just expecting this round to go by instantly as far as everything we've seen so far from Fluff.
I saw this map the other day, and an auto shotty and Arcade shut down a push completely. So we'll see if StatusQuo can mirror that, or if they'll just be shut down in the first half here.
We'll find out in just a few seconds, though, and we're seeing a pretty heavy topside placement, so they are at least leaving storefront open. Kai there in office, he's got to be careful because he's going to get flashbanged out almost instantly. Fishy's going to have to save him here.
The breach is already off. Fishy trying to get shots off, only a little bit of damage before he's taken out. And Kai's in a corner. He's got 1 with the top 12. He's going in for another, but Vayne takes him out with the trade. An auto shotty on V. He's got 1, but then Vayne with another trade, saving his team, saving the day. It's just down to Smoke and Jake already. He's got that AK in hand, or excuse me, should I say KR, as he goes in for a second. It's going to be Marbles throwing his utility, trying to get out as a nade, actually going to trade Swass from Marbles, but in the end, Jake going to be the last one alive.
And finally, we see a round victory come out for StatusQuo. That should hopefully help set their minds at ease, get them in and ready for the second half to come through, because they're going to need to be able to make a push here. Figuratively and literally speaking, as they're going to be on the attacking side.
Yeah, there was a fumble there. Marbles was meaning to pull out a nade, I'm assuming, to clear barbed wire to get into the storefront. But I guess the timing was just there, and Swass got the kill, but in the end, the nade got him back.
And this is what we've been saying. Got to get those trades. And we had that happen there finally, where people weren't taking peeks 1 by 1. They were coming in pairs at least. And, once, the first person had gone down, you got that second guy swinging in to catch the person off guard in the middle of the reload. And, that's exactly what they've been needing to do, is to guarantee themselves a kill, because Fluff, if they take damage, they'll rotate that man to the back and let the next person with full health come in and, be on the front line. And just doing that cycle over and over and over again is just going to grind down any defending team with that lower health. But here we go, back to Mountain Hour. It's going to be Fluff on the defensive side, StatusQuo on the attack. A little rat's love coming out there. Always love to see that, but it looks like it's going to be a play that we've kind of seen somewhat before. They are going for a door breach on the top from what they've written. They're still going to go for that power. Not a very quick entry, though, into the main area of the map, though. There's going to be barbed wire guarding off all those points there. We're probably going to see some play towards office if they get the chance to. But again, Fluff definitely going to have everything set and ready to go as far as, defensive prowess can be given their way. It's just going to be a matter of, do we see that instant op shot, or I shouldn't say op, mop shot come ringing out from one of their players like we did last time. The Saber, I don't know if it's going to be as good in the hands of StatusQuo as we saw from Fluff with that instant 3-kill starting off their side, but
Out as the round's going to be starting up here. StatusQuo on the attack. Their plan seems somewhat similar to what Fluff wanted to do, except this time they've pointed out a lot of angles that can be held, and they've actually pointed out Marble's positions perfectly. They've thought, hey, where would we play? We're going to play right here, and this is exactly what Fluff is doing. StatusQuo is reading their plan perfectly, and if they can play off that and be confident in that, then they could take this round and actually make it 2-2. We'll find out, though, as the push is going to come in on the north side of the map, and we'll see a door charge go down immediately from Fishy. Breach is ready, and just waiting now for Fishy to rotate to the south side. He's going to go out. It's actually going to cover off storage perfectly, and that's already toxic control given up. Actually trying to get a pick off here. Billboard Socks going to get V, but Power's not out yet. Jake has to go back and get it. Power's now out, and Frosty's rotated in. A Flayer's there to support, but Fishy's stuck in the corner on Power. Kai's going to get caught in the crossfire as Socks is pushed in. Now Fishy's down to 1 HP on that Black Tower. Swas and Jake pushing together on the south side of the map, trying to clear out Vayne. Fishy just taking a 1v1 as the Molotov's there to stall out the 2 players in storage. And it's still 5 players alive, granted 1 on half health for Fluff. Looking like they've already shut down this round. They have to have to clean this up. Luckily, Fishy making the cross, still very low on HP. He's actually going to opt for the re-peek, trying to take them out. He's going for a peek. He's going to get taken out by Frosty. 1 pick for Billboards, 1 for Socks, and 1's for Frosty. As that Molotov finally starts to go out, but who knows? The Flayer is there as well as a barbed wire. It's Swas and Jake left alone in a 2v5. Can they pull it back just like, just like Fluff did on that map in Killhouse? We'll find out as Frosty takes out Jake, and time's starting to run out. Swas is going to get taken out by Vayne, and a clean round from Fluff. Nothing given up on their half besides some Flayers to counter the power play.
oof is all I can say about that. Just solid defense from the start. And I think
predicted how they played perfectly, but just couldn't execute on it, I
think if it looks predictable and it looks obvious, that's the play you can't make against Fluff, because simply put, their aim and group mechanics are so strong that they're going to shut you down if you try and do that. You have to come up with something clever to be able to put down Fluff, or just, I don't want to say get lucky in a negative way, but you got to get those little bit of a single bullet advantages in a game.
You can't exactly throw a smoke perfectly or throw a flash perfectly, because you don't really have a crosshair always in the center of your screen. So sometimes smokes, like in this map specifically, we saw a smoke on Club. It cut off the south side, but also it went right up to the right side of Club stage. So that cuts off perfectly. That's a matter of luck. Say you go in for a flash on Kitchen, and it bounces off a cabinet, which is what you want it to do, but then it gets caught behind a drawer or a sink. That's just unlucky. Sometimes the utility can be a little bit iffy because, obviously you don't have that crosshair, and there is a small factor of luck. For the most part, though, it is going to be all on aim here and coordination, as StatusQuo have to clean up this attack now, or else it looks like Fluff might just try to take it here.
Yeah, Fluff is playing 4D chess right now with their defensive strategies, and it's going to be down to StatusQuo to try and come up with something better here. We're going to see that same kind of play as we saw before, the bottom side door breach, pushing the Kitchen. If they do get that off and are able to get into Club, they will have a chance. However, as we've seen before, Fluff are very quick rotators. They get people into the lines that they need to return fire very, very fast. So, just any single one Molotov that goes out into that area of Kitchen entry, all of a sudden they're just going to switch places and be, on a very good defensive spot.
Actually, the defensive positions for Fluff are looking pretty aggressive, to say the least. They want to get checkpoint kills. They've got Marbles and Billboard Saber and Mop set up, and that's exactly what's going to happen from the side of Status Quo. They're going for checkpoint, and oh boy, are they not ready for this. Shotguns and APs. I'm not so sure about this one. We'll see Billboard and Marbles. We'll see if they can get a pick as first teammates. First shots are there from Frosty. They've been alerted, but Billboard still gets a pick. He's got 2 headshots immediately. 2 shots, 2 kills for him, but the trade is finally there. Marvel's actually going to get a shot off. It's going to be 15 HP, and the round is already shut down. There's 2 players left with 4 full health. Marvel's taking out another. It's just Fishy on 15 HP. Match point is looking so promising here for Fluff, as all Fishy has is a clacker and an AP. What do you do in that situation? He's just got to rotate around, and he's got no other green entrance. He might honestly save the clacker here. We'll find out, though, as Vayne probably going to be hearing him as, you know, Fluff testing their toes in the waters of the UAV. Is she actually just going to rotate around? He opts for the rotate around, and he'll just be waiting. It seems he's actually picked up the wall charge, and he's going to be saving that. So good on Fishy. Round is going to be given up to Fluff, which is match point and series point for them. So we'll see how it goes, as 4-1 is looking like the play here for Fluff. And it seems Fishy is definitely saving that. He's opted for a complete save on that wall charge and clacker. He's trying to save it for his last round, so good on him. We'll see what he can do. He's actually going to take some shots for some interesting reason. So, we'll see
Indeed.
If he's going to save. Good on Fluff. 4-1. I don't have much else to go over because, you know, the round was just over then and there.
Billboard with those 2 instant frags coming in from the Saber. I mean, that's not what you want to be seeing as the attacking side. You're not even up to a door yet, and you've got 2 players already down. And when then even the kill from Marbles there, it looked like he had just used the mop as a shotgun. He came in through a doorway, and there was somebody there, and he fired off at point-blank range and got the frag. Definitely not a bad strategy. At least you can't say that when it works out on your behalf. We will see now 4 potential match points.
Yeah,
4 chances right now.
Well.
4 chances to send Fluff right on into the finals of DPL Season 1.
Yep, we'll see, though, as both of these teams still have the chance to go up against Flatline in the finals. We'll see, though, as the loser of this will be going up against DFC for the 3rd place match, I'm pretty certain, later today. We'll find out. As back to Storefront, or C-Store, I should say. So we'll see how that works out, as 4-1 match point for Fluff. We'll see what they can do.
This was the only map so far that Status Quo have won, I believe. So definitely something that, you know, they have in mind, that they know this map quite well. But now they're on the flip side. They're on the attack. And I don't think they have much utility or weapons of any sort available. They definitely don't have the Saber. So it's going to be up to just brutality at this point. You know, make your way in and take the fights that you need to. Fluff, on the other hand, I mean, they've got everything at their disposal. They've got a mop, they've got a Saber, they've got the auto shotty. I believe they still even have plenty of barbed wire left to use. And, you know, we're going to see Office being pinned off by one of them there as far as they're marking it out. The freezer play, definitely a spot that you might want to have consideration for. But again, with those long-range weapons that they still have, especially the Saber, you can afford at this point to throw a person down into the bottom of Storefront and just wait for that push to come through freezer. And, you know, as soon as they're into that area, you know, just start ringing out shots. We'll have to see here. It's going to be a cheeky window peek, though, from the start of it, right out of Office. We'll see if that gets the opening frag that we've seen so many times before.
We'll play some mind games in the chat. He's saying that they're going to go for a red door to power push, and that they may have lured Marbles and Socks towards the right side of the map. Still a bit of a scramble for Fluff as we see the push begin for Status Quo. Actually, a hit shot for Billboard. Not going to be a kill, though, as Swass enters alone, actually. Flashing himself in. The smoke is there to support, though, as Vayne is going to be cut off. Swass will be and Jake all pushing in now. Billboard's going to be pushed back with Saber, and he's in a bad position, but Marbles is there to back him up. Breach is there on Arcade, and what has been promised has been delivered. Fishy's in. He's going for this power. And it looks like nobody's there. Nobody's there to contest Fishy. But Billboard's going to be peeking out now. He needs a teammate, but he's actually got the first kill. Damage is off already on StatusQuo, but giving the kill up, that's going to be major for them, especially with the auto shot. He's still waiting in the corner for them. Having that man advantage, you need it for that auto shot. You need to be able to throw those extra bodies in. And as Fishy's actually going to start to go in alone, he's put pressure on it. Frosty's going to go in for the kill, and Fishy's just going to rotate back, it seems. He's waiting for it, as he does have a clacker, which is seemingly waiting outside. Marbles does peek out. Good from him, but he's actually going to get the kill. Marbles taking finally out Fishy. But we'll see Vayne get Kai on the left side of the map, excuse me, as Freezer control is given up. It's been split in half. He's got to get the shotgun shot off here. It's going to happen, but Frosty actually getting the kill on Marbles. An accidental TK. It's going to be Jake to clean up too. Vayne and Frosty is just down to a 2v1, but if Swass takes the fight here, it's going to be down to a 1v1 possibly. Jake trying to get his teammate in here. But we'll see Sox push out, and Swass has got the kill. 2 rounds for StatusQuo. Good for them. And auto shotty, it seems, will be recovered.
And that's exactly what they need to stay in this. You know, still anybody's game. We will say that every single time. You know, you can definitely come back from a 4-1 deficit. The side switch is going to happen, though, so saving anything doesn't really matter at this point. But I will say, as from what we've seen so far with Fluff, I don't want to say the only way they lose this is if we see Dusk Praetorian 2 more times, which cannot happen, obviously. You know, this seems to be the map that that StatusQuo have been enjoying the most, is it's the only one that they've gotten wins on twice at this point, one from each side. But back around, you know, to the beginning, we're going to see Factory again, a map that we've played twice already so far. Have they learned from the past, you know, rounds on this what to do for their defending side? Can they hold off Fluff? Because Fluff, as we've seen on these, you know, make or break rounds, they just bring like a new level of aggression. You know, they shifted into a higher gear, and they have been very shut down against teams, you know, that try and hold them back. What the strategy they bring out this time is anybody's guess. We could see that Docs play finally come out. I doubt it. I think we're still going to see that toxic push along with storage. But one thing to watch out for is Fan. You know, we saw the first time on this, there was a very, very crisp shot from Vayne that just came through Fan and just took out a player instantly. He made his way around the toxic, got 2 more headshots to open that round the first time they were on the attack. So definitely a factor here to be concerned about if you're StatusQuo right now. The last thing you want to do is start this round off on defense with a man down. You just cannot give up a free kill to, you know, the attacking side before you've even fired a single bullet into the round. Things are going off, and it looks like it will definitely be that storage push. There's a little mark up here, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a set nade coming through, if they're figuring that somebody's going to be sitting in this area right on the top side of shelving. They might be gambling that somebody's going to be sitting there, throw a frag in there, and just eliminate any player sitting within that zone. That could be brutal if that happens to be the case. Again, that top of the stairs is a common spot. We're going to see players defending from there. And at this time, 3 people in office. That's a bold call, and I would say definitely a good one on the part of StatusQuo. They need to change things up just a little bit.
Definitely have to change it up here. And considering they do have 2 rounds, I mean, 2 more and it's going to be 4-4.
Oh, here it comes, Vayne. Oh, he didn't go for
Vayne
it.
Not getting it. Swass was aware of it, and he had Nigmar on it. Frosty is going to be peeking it, though, it seems. So Marvel's actually going to opt for a charge down here. It's going to be opened up, and Jake and Swass have to take it out. Jake actually gets the pick on Billboard. That's going to be huge. Marbles is separated off, and now they can just focus on the fan fight. Damage actually going to go off onto Frosty, and it looks like Marvel's actually shooting at Frosty slightly. A misplay from him, but the smoke is on site, and it's going to be Frosty to jump in. Jake is going to be taken out by Frosty. The trade is there as Marbles and Sox get ready to push in. Marbles has taken out Swass, and Fishy gets the trade on Marbles, but reminder, Sox is still there as Frosty goes through the smoke. Pressure is on the bomb now as V's taken out. It's all down to Fishy with the Igmar. He's got to try to get one here, but it's not going to happen. 5-2 for Fluff. GG's to them. 5-0 and 5-2. Strong performance from them.
Wow. They had a chance there, and it seemed like it was a case of they were always worried about their backside until the moment they stopped worrying about what could happen from Fan. That was the moment Frosty came in. Frosty, just threw everything into, just chaos there. Sox then came through from the front side as well, got those final 2 kills. But very well played there from Fluff. And again, we see their ability to just switch strategies. It's a map with, just a few strategies that you would think would be useful. And they're just like, oh, no, we're going to do that Dox play, and you're like, well, Dox play, you're going to be funneled into 1 point. That's going to suck for you. And they're like, no, we'll make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, Fluff, a simple prediction, but they did clean it up there, and it was a good performance from them. So 5-0 and 5-2, as we mentioned. We'll see if we get an interview here in a moment, but good work from them. They are still remaining undefeated. They have not dropped a set yet, and we'll see. We'll see if they take another 2-0 in the finals versus Flatline, or if we'll see a bit more of an intense match. I'm not saying that wasn't intense, but a bit more of a closer in terms of rounds match in the finals. But keep in mind, StatusQuo will now be moving to the 3rd place match. So we'll find out if they get placed 3rd or 4th as well, and if they will be ranked among the leaderboards of the first season of Due Process League. We'll find out though, as I am just checking for an interview right now. We'll find out here in a second. Any post-game notes you want to pull up, Byakko?
I mean, just watching the way Fluff plays, it's something that teams need to particularly strategize against. If you're not reviewing, the footage that Due Process League puts out, or screaming even against them and figuring out what they're doing, I just don't know if you're going to have a chance against Fluff. And that obviously goes out to Flatline coming up in the finals. It's you have to have a plan. You can't go in and just plug it against this team.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And I'm pretty sure we have here today Marbles from Fluff to interview. So, Marbles, congratulations on your win. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We had a really good game there, especially the first one. I think we just fragged out. Frosty played really good in both matches. Probably was the best player out of all of us. But Vane's also popping on. So we all played really good. Happy with how everyone played.
How do you feel about that 4v1 Nat clutch that we saw on Killhouse in the first game? What was the team's reaction to that? What was the comms like?
Really hype. We I would say Frosty really did pop off there, and we had softened up a lot of them, and it was just a good play. Also think it was kind of it was also kind of a misplay from SQ there, because it was like a 3v or 2v1. But yeah, it was great. A really fun game.
Well, it's really good work from you guys, and I just want to point out 1 or 2 things. Firstly, I wanted to ask about that smoke on Factory. What was the thought process for that smoke by the bomb on Factory? Were you guys just planning to go for like a smoke defuse and it missed, or like were you
Are you
using it as
talking about
cover?
first game or second game?
Second game, very last round on
So
Factory.
we weren't really looking to do anything specific there. Usually when you're smoking, you're trying to block off line of sight and keep them from peeking you back. And because that dock is such an open area, you have to kind of play around the fact that you might get a long angle like mopped, and they were doing that. So that smoke kind of prevented them from just fucking destroying us with like a mop or a Legos.
Makes perfect sense. Byakko, I'm gonna hand it over to you if you have any questions.
Yeah, just a few things. So you notice in a few of the plays, especially on that final round, it looks like you have a set plan, but you've always got like kind of an audible set and ready to go. The instant peak that came out from the start from Vane, he peeked through Fan, didn't see anything, and for a moment it looked like he was going to back off entirely, but then you switched it around and had him and Frosty like just kind of harassing from the Fan, but then all of a sudden was it up to them when it was time to jump through and run on in, or was that a set call? Hey, once we come in and we get this next frag, you two come in and work on the backside.
I think that just comes with how the round played out, because Billboard got picked off right away on the insta peek from Dox because Jake was in the corner. But we'd always planned to just shoot that fan out because if you can pre-set it up, it's an insta tap, and it lets people drop in for fan without wasting a flash.
All right. But again, congratulations on that win. Looking forward to seeing you in the finals.
Yeah, Fluff versus Flatline. We will see that match coming up soon. We're also going to be holding a third place match, so we'll see what DFC as well as Status Quo can do. As Fluff and Flatline are going to be moving on to the finals, the number 1 and 2 place teams currently in the league. We'll see what they can do. Will Fluff pull out another 2-0 versus Flatline, or will it be something very interesting? Tonight at 6 p.m., keep in mind, it is going to be the third place match, so come back later today for that. And then from there, I am pretty sure our finals will be, is it Sunday tomorrow, or I'm pretty sure it's Sunday tomorrow that we finish this up. So if you haven't already, make sure to stop by later today and tomorrow. Make sure to stop by in the Discord and keep an eye out for those reminders. We will have 2 more matches in this season, and then we will crown the champion for Due Process League Season 1. I just want to thank Marbles for the interview, and I want to thank Byakko for being my fellow caster today. And other than that, I think we're ready to wrap it up here in the studio. Just keep in mind, we have updates on our Discord, and we have 2 more matches. That's all I've got to say. So thank you everybody for stopping by, and I hopefully you enjoyed this Status Quo versus Fluff 2-0. We'll see you in the finals as well as the third place match.